Hello, this is Rich. Um, this is my latest video, and I want to get into something that kind of held me back for many, many years. Um, Anyone who has watched my videos or interacted with me on Facebook or Twitter know some of the disadvantages I had growing up. Lost my dad at age 7 and didn't ever really have a mentor to step in and kind of show me as a young boy, young man, a teenager, how to develop relationships. I'm 54 years old now. I have dated, and not with a great deal of success. I've had some girls I really liked, and they kind of were dating more than one guy at a time. I wasn't comfortable with that. I prefer monogamy. To me, I equate that with being faithful. And even as a teen, I didn't want to be sharing a girlfriend with somebody else. That, and at a very young age, due to my father passing and possibly due to not having someone to help me figure out my grief, figure out my loss, I believe that's where my depression that I'm not getting treated for started. It was undiagnosed for years because I was very high functioning on it. With some of the things that I've gone through, I've had professionals tell me that they don't know how I did it. It was hard. I had a family that at times treated me like I was a wild child, and I proceeded to back their faith up, because what you tell a child you think he is, he then proceeds to show you, yes, that's what I am. And as a teen, I was never allowed to be in the house by myself. When my parents would up north, because they believed that I would throw a party. At the time I started to drink, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I never have. I've always had a few close people. As a single guy, and having dealt with some of the issues that I have, I'm not sure hanging out with friends who are now married, it just doesn't feel comfortable to me. And anyone that I'm friends with that's close to my age is probably married. It makes me feel like a third wheel. That's my inner feeling. I usually go along, but I think part of it is I don't think the way other people do, and that made me feel uncomfortable. And yet, I think it's the thing that distinguishes me as someone to be able to think outside the box. When I was 19, by accident, fate, whatever you have, I met a young gal, found her attractive, and didn't act on it. That's not me. That's not who I am. she engaged with me, and she asked me to take her to the mall. This was at age 19, and she was younger than me. I didn't know how much younger. I did so, and when we went to the mall, she wanted to hold hands. Um, when I was trying to look where I was walking, it was put to me that, why are you looking at that girl? And I'm going like, I want to look where I'm walking. After we left the mall, she set up so we could get together later on in the evening and kind of hang out at Hines Park. Well, me being rather shy and having a hard time explaining sometimes what I think. And part of it is I think people don't listen to me because I don't talk that much. So when I talk, I'm the type of person when I talk, a lot of times I want it to have impact and meaning. And at the end of the evening, she laid her head on my shoulder. She gave me a kiss. She asked me to call her the next day. Well, I didn't know what to think. I'd never had a girlfriend. And I thought, wow, this girl really likes me. You know, we must be boyfriend, girlfriend. I didn't know. And I suppose I jumped the gun. And I think in between the time that we went out, she discovered there was an age difference, and she proceeded to tell her family that she was afraid of me. I didn't know that there was an age difference. I didn't try to act pushy with sex or anything like that. I believe she had an idea of how old I was. Maybe it was the fact that I was attracted to her that scared her. Her family came over to my house while I was not there, and I was told, they explained to them that she was scared she didn't want to see me anymore. I walked in at the end of the conversation, and I was just told that I couldn't see her anymore, that she was afraid of me. I hadn't done anything ungentlemanly whatsoever. My heart was broken, but I didn't want to take it standing down. I wanted to know what I had done. In searching my head, there was nothing I did wrong. She had her best friend with us, so there was no monkey business. There was nothing illegal, evil, perverted, raunchy. And so when I went over to her house and asked her about it, the only answer she gave me was, I wanted to know so I could move on. The only answer she gave me is, don't settle. Well, I should have probably said, don't settle for what? She again had a friend of hers, a different one, with her, and she did not explain it. I didn't ask for an explanation. And being that I was attracted to her, I thought, don't settle means go for it. Don't give up. And because that's the way I think don't give up. I go to what I consider the positive. Well, that wasn't what she meant, and because she didn't explain herself well, every member of her family thought that I had been told exactly what the reason was when I hadn't been, and I did not know until 3 years ago that there was a bit of an age difference. How I found out was for 30 years I always wondered why. Not that I loved her or anything for 30 years. That would be insane. I wanted to know why. And I never had an answer. I ran into her one time. She came into my place of work and she asked me if I had ever gotten married. I said no. When we were younger, for about 2 years after I was told not to see her, I kept making attempts to see her because she was not explaining what was going on. I supposedly knew. Well, when I ran into her in 95, she asked me if I was married. I said no. She goes, I'm here with my lawyer. We're having a meeting on my divorce. And again, at this point, it had been so long. It had been about 13 years since I had last seen her. And yes, she looked beautiful, but she didn't look or feel like the person I knew back then. But I liked her. I liked her as a person. And it was nice to see her. We had conversation. I think my excitement at seeing her may have made her think that I was looking for marriage. At my age now, I'm not looking for marriage or to hook up with anyone because that's not who I am. If it happens, it happens, and I'll be happy for it. But I don't want to force anything. And I don't want to be the annoying person I was back at 19, 20, 21 years old when I was drinking and I was dealing with my depression. So, 3 years ago, I celebrated my 24th years of sobriety, and I tried to reach out to each person that had helped me in various ways through words, deed, support, whatever. I wrote four or five letters and I mailed them out. One of the things that I decided to do, and most alcoholics do this, is they try to make amends to everyone they've harmed. And I've carried a tremendous amount of guilt over the years. How I pursued her, how I ignored every avenue that I could find to try and get to her, to try and make what between her and I a relationship, something that her and I never had. She never had any feeling for me. She never had any love for me. It was a one-way street. And because the explanations weren't there from her family or my family, and I didn't know about the age difference, and that may seem naive, but I didn't know how dating worked. And generally, if someone was kind of around your group and they were attracted to you, people got together. And that's kind of what I had thought had happened initially. And through time away from her, getting sober, and over the last few years of being medicated for depression, a lot of my beliefs were shattered, knowing that I really didn't feel for her the way I thought I did at that time, that I was using her as a replacement to fill up the hole that had been opened when my father passed away. That was my thinking. That's the only way I could think of at the time that would work. And as a 19-year-old kid who hadn't had much direction and didn't understand relationships or love or anything like that, it was a hard, harsh reality that I never loved her. There was infatuation, and I was simply struck by her attractiveness, and I hadn't even tried to examine the personality of the person. Well, come 3 years ago when I had my 24th year of sobriety, and I wrote the letters, she was the one person I wanted to contact to apologize. And I didn't know how to do so. And I had a quarter of a century to me to apologize, and I did so in a letter, a CD with some songs, and a DVD with different love quotations, which really was inappropriate, but it was over the top because my guilt and shame for what I did was really that deep. I've had a lot of shame and guilt in things I did back when I was drinking. I've worked very hard to restructure my personality so that I am respectful to women and try not to invade their lives in such a way that they think that I'm trying to put a move on them. I am a very hard charging person. When I like something, I like it all the way. And that may be an aspect of my childhood that is just carried over. One of those things that maybe I can't adjust or change, and I have tried to change a lot. At the time I quit drinking, I was using heavy swear words. I was not going to church, and I was a bit of a slacker as far as work. My first attempt at community college was god awful. I didn't make an effort. I didn't know how to make an effort. A lot of my grief about my dad and not being able to deal with that, not having someone to help me through that, was a part of who I was up until I was about 26, and that's when I made the effort to change. There were aspects that I didn't even realize that I was doing with people. aspects I was trying to do, and behaviors that I was doing with people that were almost automatic, and I didn't realize I was doing them, and I was offending people. And over the course of the last 27 years, I think I've come a long way in that regard. I'm much more respectful of people. Um, I've learned to shut my mouth at times when even the most obvious comment should be made. Trying to use tact and be respectful of other people. There are some things people just don't want to hear when they're going through a tough time. And I'm a rare person in that regard, that I would rather someone kill me with the truth than be sweet to me with a lie. That plays into my idea of the type of person I should be. I want to be a person with faith, integrity, honesty. I want to be someone that when a kid sees me working or sees me doing something, they can believe that I'm looking out for another human, and that I would look out for another human being, where it wouldn't be they struggling or not understanding a situation in life. I, for so long, was misunderstood and ignored. For the better part of my first 26 years, I should say the first 26 years, from the time my dad passed at 7 till the time I was 26, I was ignored. And I felt like a black sheep. There were things that my parents did for the other siblings, and then when I wanted a little bit of help, it went on deaf ears. And I know my mother loves me, but some of my behavior brought this on. I was not an angel, but now I'm trying to make up for many of what I consider to be my flaws, and try to put out there that I apologize to this person. I wish she had been more clear. It was a misunderstanding, plain and simple. And she come out and said, I don't want you. I would have walked away easily. And I discussed this with a gal that did my counseling, and I discussed this gal back when I first quit drinking, and I told her that I felt bad about some of the things I did, and that I still cared for her, but I knew that anything more than me caring for her was going to be all I was going to get. I was not going to get a relationship, a friendship, or anything like that. And I understood that. And I wanted, when I quit drinking, to be the kind of person that someone would want to be my friend. Someone would trust me. and my honesty and my willingness to help a person through a difficulty in their life that maybe they couldn't handle, even if it meant just talk to me for a moment, would take away bad feelings and allow them to renew their battery and move on for another day. For many years, I had no one like that. Even when I quit drinking, for 6 months, my family never even knew I quit, and they assumed that I'd moved on to something heavier, be it hard liquor or drugs. And that hurt me. I, growing up, was a dishonest kid. Partially, they were lies that only hurt me, trying to make myself seem grander than what I was. And I've come to terms with that, and learning to be honest as close to 100% of the time as possible. I think it's helped me grow as a person, and I wanted to put this out there because when I tried to reach out to this gal, she not only rejected what I had to offer, but she assumed that I was trying to worm my way back into her life. And in her thinking that, she put out a personal protection order against me. I can't say that I blame her based on previous history, but I'm also hurt that she didn't give anything I said a chance to at least say, you know what, it's nice you turned your life around, get the hell out of my space. And that would have been the end of it. And, you know, people who have never had a difficulty in their life can't comprehend how difficult it is to grow up from age 7 to not know where you're going to go or what you're going to be. You have dreams, and every time you have one, people are telling you, no, you can't do that. And my belief has always been, people tell you you can't do something because either they can't do it themselves or they're jealous that you think that you can. It could be both. I always encourage any young person that wants to change their life and make their world better, even if it's a long shot, to do so, but always have a backup plan. And a lot of people nowadays, they want what they want and they're unwilling to work for it. I used to be one of those people. And, you know, since I quit drinking, I've worked most of the last 27 years, 2 jobs. I've had virtually no life. I've never had a girlfriend. I've taken a few vacations. But I believe that now I am on the antidepressants. My life has never had more joy since my father passed. I volunteered with a grief group to help families, especially kids that have lost someone. And in that process, it helped me work through my grief. I've been able to, some of the unfinished stories or unknowns of my life, I've resolved everything. Now, it's all up to me. It's up to me to make that change. It is not easy. You know, I know my mother loves me. I know my step-family loves me. I know my blood sister loves me. But I've been through hell with no one to help me through it. I've learned the hard way almost every single time. And I'm ready for something a little bit easier. I'm hopeful that school, which I'm now in, will work out, and moving forward I will get myself a better paying job, possibly be able to have vacations, but to me vacations aren't that important. My Facebook timeline is lined with things that are positive and uplifting, and I have interest in all the research and findings of things regarding how the brain works during addiction, concussions, grief, in general, helping people that don't understand how some of these things work, showing them how they work so that they can get past whatever things are blocking them in their life. It's a very, very tough thing. And to do it all alone, essentially for 30 years, to me is amazing. And to find my way back into school and close to getting academic forgiveness and pulling a B grade average after all that I've been through in school with the bullying and drinking and addiction and depression and suicide. I attempted suicide twice. For what reason? That would never happen now, nor will me taking a drink happen now. And I am going to stay on my meds, and I am not going to hurt myself. I wanted to put this out there so someone will know. Someone will know that the reason why I am the way I am is I fought back from all the negative things that people threw at me. A lot like Rocky Balboa. I remember Rocky 3 when Rocky got destroyed in the first fight with Mr. T, and he comes back and He's retrained himself so that he can be not only a boxer, but a brawler, but a boxer as well. And he leads off with the boxing, and then allows Mr. T to feel like he's taking control, and he is shouting to Mr. T, "Ain't so bad, ain't so bad, ain't so bad." And I think I've been doing that for many, many years. And I've held on to people who really do care about me. This girl that had the order put against me, she's nobody. She'll always be nobody. Me, I'm just starting. And hopefully I can make an impact on people where I become somebody. And maybe she'll have regret, maybe she won't give a crap like now. But her opinion won't matter to me, and it doesn't matter to me now. I have goals, I have beliefs, and I have things that I think that I can do to help people who need help. I want to be there for people that are struggling. I want to make sarcastic remarks about difficult situations, because for me that always relieved my tension in knowing, getting myself ready to know I had to get through something. The important thing is, no matter how hard it is, to go that extra mile, to go that extra round, to keep fighting. Keep your faith and belief alive. It's alright to have hope, but hope without effort and direction, it's going to lead you nowhere. You know, you're going to have hope, which is what I had for many years, but if you don't have faith that you can get it done, you don't have belief that you can get it done, fear becomes something that controls you. Even though you have hope, it's like having one of each in the hand, one of fear and one of hope in each hand. And in order to move forward, you have to drop the fear. You have to. Letting go of things that are important. All you have to do is organize them in a place in your brain. You lose somebody, let them be the reason why you're able to pull into your goal, to reach your goal, to find your way. I'm going to find my way. That thing with her hurt me for a long time. And I did other things when I was drinking that I was a jerk. And sometimes I do things that I'm a jerk now, but I try to limit it. And if there's joking going on around, yeah, I'll drop in my 2 cents. But generally, I do not like to discourage or give people a feeling of discouragement with where they are headed. So I've gone on and on about this, but I'm trying to explain where I've come from with this one situation, and also letting you know that I'm willing to put forth positive things and help people understand that whatever negative thing you have going on, it's only a thing, one thing. If you have belief and faith in yourself, you will find a way to achieve what you want to achieve to do what you want to do. That's important. That's huge. And people who don't understand that get caught up in all the minutia of this, that, and the other thing. I know I'll never talk to this gal ever again. And it's been 3 years, 17 years before that, and 11 years before that. So she put a PPO for stuff I did when I was 19, 20 years old, running into her 14 years later, with her coming into my work, and then me dropping off things to apologize, when honestly I should have just written a simple letter and said I'm sorry and that I have no interest in you, and that would have been the end of that. So with her, I have a weakness in character. I tend not to say what I should say, and so therefore it's done and over from this day forward. And it's been 3 years since I had any contact with her at all, and it's going to go forward the same way. I have no desire to see her, to anything to do with her at all. And I hope that any of you have anything that is bothering you, that some imperfections, things that you've screwed up. There's always hope. There's a way out of it. You just gotta keep pushing. Get yourself away from things that are hurting you, and go towards people that are going to be behind you and for you and love you and believe in you and the things you want to do. God bless you all tonight. I am so glad to have this off my chest. Anyone that watches this, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.